Man United 4, Liverpool 3. We'd go out to the FA Cup. Very, very disappointing. I'm not going to go overboard though. I'm just not. Got a lot to say here, but it's not going to go overboard in a negative way. And I'll explain why. I mean, it hurts bad. It always hurts bad losing to them. And I'm as upset and annoyed as the rest of you. And we can look at decisions that were made and mistakes that were made, but we've also got to look at the big picture too. And the big picture is a hell of a lot rosier than just looking at what happened today. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we had the game won twice. I mean, after going behind, probably with the run of play, to be honest, because they came out all guns blazing and they got the reward. McTominay scored. It was only after that we settled into the game. Our midfield was strangely being outplayed by a very poor Man United midfield, and Endo, McAllister and Szoboszlai just couldn't get to grips. But they eventually did, and with about 10 or 15 minutes of the first half to go, we started to play. We got our mojo back. They started to tire, and sure enough, the possession ended up with 2 goals, and suddenly we're 2-1 up at half time, instead of looking like we might have been going in 1-0 down at half time. But it's what I expected from them. I expected them to come out for 20-25 minutes. I've watched them enough this season to know that they can do that, and then they fall apart. And that's exactly what happened in this game as well. They came out for the second half. It was men against boys, and I know everyone's calling it a terrible performance and blah blah blah, but we absolutely dominated that second half. Dominated it. The only thing that we got wrong was thinking it was too easy and just missing easy chance after easy chance. 5-on-2, a 5-on-2, and we can't even get a proper shot away. It happened again later in the game, a 4-on-2, and we couldn't do it then either. So it was sort of ambling towards an easy 2-1 win, and it is one of the worst scorelines in football, 2-1, because you don't know where to stick or twist, and so we sort of didn't do either. So we were still having a go, but we weren't really committing to having a go. And guess what? We get it with an 87th minute sucker punch that they did not deserve. Let's just put that on the record, right? They did not deserve to equalise in that game. They were completely finished, but it only takes a second to score a goal, and one of their worst players of the season, Anthony, happens to get it, and that can happen in these games. We played the occasion, and we played where we were and who we were playing against, instead of just playing the game. Had we just played the game, we'd have won that 3-4, 5-1. But we didn't. We got sucked into the occasion, and it came back to bite us. Extra time, I mean, it was a bit of a nothing for their 15 minutes, but then Harvey Elliott pops up, gets a deflection, and we're 3-2 up. Ten Hag, I want to talk about Klopp's substitutions in a minute, but Ten Hag made the most unbelievably ridiculous substitutions, just throwing everything at the wall to see if it would stick, and it shouldn't have. He ended up with 2 defenders on the field for the majority of a 30-minute extra time, and we just didn't capitalise on it. And a couple of really, really poor errors, and I'll get to them in a minute as well. But suddenly it's 3-3, and in the virtual last kick of the game, we throw every man forward. Don't know why we did that. Would have been great if it ended up 4-3, of course, but it didn't. It ended up 4-3 the other way. A mistake, a mix-up between Endo and Elliott. They break, and somehow the kid seems to, he doesn't even catch it properly, but it crawls into the post and we lose the game. I've already seen a lot. I've been reading social media and seen the fallout from all of this, and it's over the top, as it often is when we lose. But I've seen Jurgen Klopp taking a lot of stick for the substitutions today, and I've only got one criticism about 1.5 criticisms about Jurgen Klopp over the last few days. The first one is he played too strong a team for too long against Sparta and should have given certain players the complete night off. It was never in doubt that we were going to walk through that leg, and certain key players played too long in that game. So that I think was an error, which might have played a part in today. Probably did, to be honest, play a part in today. The other one I'll get to in a second, but I just want to. People are really giving him stick about his substitutions, and I first of all, let's go to the starting 11. I thought the starting 11, it was 10 of the players I had picked to start in that, so I was very happy apart from one, and I could not understand Joe Gomez over Conor Bradley at right back. Joe Gomez hasn't played at right back too much of late, and if there's one thing Conor Bradley has shown is that he's a threat going forward, so that winger has to keep an eye on him, but he's also a superb right back in the traditional sense of the word. And there's something about Marcus Rashford when he plays against Liverpool. He knows it's a big game, and he pretty much always turns up. He hasn't turned up all season, but he turned up in bits of it today. But they saw that and they said, right, let's just one tactic. Let's go after Gomez with Rashford, and they got far too much joy, and it was probably the key tactical part of that first half was the Rashford overloading the left hand side. Didn't even try to go down Andy Robertson's side. Didn't try to go through the middle. I don't think Højlund got a kick. But I mentioned it in the notes. I think that should have been addressed far earlier than it was. But anyway, that was that. I mean, look at the other substitutions, right? He put Elliott on for Szoboszlai, which added legs and energy at a time which was getting towards the end of the game when United were tired and being outplayed. Didn't see anything wrong with that. Putting Conor Bradley on, I thought that was the right move. He first moved Gomez to the left, all right, but then he took him off and put Tsimikas on. Didn't see anything wrong with that. And then, with the 6 minutes of extra time to go, he finally takes Diaz off, and that was the other one I thought was half a mistake. Now, probably a full mistake, but to leave Diaz on for as long as he did was it was too much. The lads had too much going on, and he's had too many minutes, and clearly he was absolutely knackered. So to be left on for another 114 minutes. Now, the one that everyone's picking on is Salah coming off and Gakpo coming on. Now, in hindsight, the fact that Man United got a completely undeserved equaliser in the 87th minute, everyone's jumping on it. The fact that Gakpo had another one of those cameos where nothing happened. He was part of a break that should have seen us seal the game and got it all wrong. And other than that, he did virtually nothing of impact in the game. So you can look at all that in hindsight. But at the time, 14 minutes to go, you're bringing on a fresh striker against a makeshift back four that only had two proper defenders in sense that that's their position. And it could and should well have worked. We should, with that energy being brought on. So it's easy to say in hindsight it was a terrible mistake, but at the time, I don't think it was a terrible mistake. So, You might differ, and lots already have, but that's just my take on it. So I'm going to finish with a few shout-outs, but the shout-outs were a difference this week, because we just lost a game. There wasn't really any particular man of the match. There wasn't particularly anyone who excelled in the whole game. But I'm reacting to what's been going on in social media, and all the reports I've read and all the comments I've read. Listen, Harvey Elliott, Darwin Núñez and Endo. Harvey Elliott and Endo were both involved in a mix-up which ended up with the fourth goal being scored. Darwin Núñez played a suicide ball across his back line, which was cut out, and they ended up equalising from it. In isolation, they were bad mistakes. But these three players have been superb for us week in, week out, all season. They've been superb, and things just went that way today. You know, every time we seemed to make a mistake, Man United pounced on it, and they benefited from it. And I am going to call out how great those three have been this season. I'm not going to call out the fact that they made an error today. Sorry, not going to do it. They've been brilliant, and look at our season. The next one, already mentioned them, and I've mentioned in the group several times over the last few games, but Cody Gakpo is really struggling. He's having a terrible time of it, and he was one that needed 90 minutes against Prague, and he got it, and he almost got 90 minutes, and he scored 2 goals, and it should have boosted his confidence. But he came on, and as I said before, had little to no effect on the game. But I'm not going to go in on him either, because he's a young lad and he's learning his trade, and it's his first season. Well, it's his second season, but you know what I mean. He's relatively new, and confidence is a horrible thing. And when you have it, you can look like a world beater, and when you don't have it, you can put in displays like he's been putting in of late. But we need to get behind him. All of us need to get behind him. I'm not going to stop calling him out. If he has a terrible game, I'm still going to give him a rating that reflects that in the player ratings. I'm still going to say he had a terrible game. But when you step back, we support all of our players. All of us do. Nothing wrong with saying someone had a bad game. But let's hope he can bounce back. Let's hope he can roll his sleeves up, and let's hope he can make a difference in this running, because we've still got everything to play for. And the last one, and again, he's been taking too much stick, is Luis Diaz. I mean, my God, the season he's had, from his parents' situation, which must have been emotionally devastating for him, to come back from that after missing a bunch of games. But then Jürgen stopped playing him so much. He doesn't need all these minutes. He's not a player who takes a break on the pitch. You've got players like a Jota and a Núñez, and even Salah, who when the ball is not in that part of the field, they slow it down. Luis Diaz is all action all the time, and you can't just do that all the time. It can't be done. He's human, and he played another 114 minutes today, and he was. I could see after an hour that he was absolutely knackered, and that I think that should have been a sub. He should have come off, but I'm not blaming Jürgen Klopp for not making that particular substitution. I'm just saying, let's give the lad a break, because he has been the heart and soul of that front three for a long time, putting in 110% in every appearance that he gives. So I'm not going to go in on him at all. So that's it. The quad's over. So what? The worst part is getting knocked out by them, because to be honest, I mean, they're a bit crap, aren't they? I mean, they are. Look at how we outplayed them in that second half. You know, it was only that we didn't score a few that allowed them to even have a sniff in that game. And I look forward to them getting beaten by Coventry now anyway. But look, we've got... There's always... I hate using the thing, you know, oh, blessing in disguise. It's not a blessing in disguise. We wanted to beat them and win the FA Cup. But it's a few games less. And a few games less right now is probably a good thing for us. The other thing that needs to be called out here, while people are saying we were rubbish today and that we didn't show up, but are we forgetting about the number of kids that have been drafted in and the number of injuries that we've had, and that we're playing today again with Quansah at the back and Keller in goal and Conor Bradley in the team, you know, and other young substitutes coming on, and Robertson haven't been out for so long, and Alisson's still out, and Jota's out. Like, we've played more games than anybody, and this was one game too far. Okay, fine, it's one game too far. It's more because we lost to them, but in the overall scheme of things, we're going for the Premier League title, we're going for the Europa League, and we've got the League Cup. It's a brilliant season. Let's not today put... We can all be pissed off and down for today. I'm going to be. But let's not that define what we have done so far this season, because we've been magnificent. All right, so let's get to treble. You never walk alone. Ta-ra.